Level number 10, bird dogging. Lesson number 4.
Hey, it's me, and I'm back again for level number 10, bird dogging. Lesson number 4, recap. Now, we've covered a lot of ground. Lesson number 1, lesson number 2, lesson number 3. Now, here we are, lesson number 4. Now, I want you guys to become familiar with this face during the recap lesson number 4, because regardless of the expert who is teaching that particular level, because I'm not going to teach every single level. I've done basically most of the different strategies on the level 1 Tycoon Mastermind. However, there are guys out there who are personal friends of mine who I entrust and who have more experience than I do with these particular strategies. So I decided to have some of my friends and experts. Now, these are not guys who are trying to sell, programs or coaching, or they have, the next best, strategy in the world to teach. These are just guys who are just in the trenches every day doing deals, but just happen to be personal friends of mine who agreed to teach these levels so that I can share with you guys not just one lesson strategy, but 10 different ways of being able to make money regardless of what kind of economic cycle or real estate market we're in. That's the value that you're going to get from the level 1 Tycoon Mastermind. You're going to get people who have the best experience teaching you exactly what's working, whether it's Birddogging and wholesaling, all the way up to developing skyscrapers taught by my good friend Ken. So on each of the recaps, because this is my mastermind, I want to make sure that you guys get it, that you understand exactly what you need to do to go out there to implement that strategy. So I will be presenting all the recaps from level 10 all the way up to level 1. You're going to learn from the experts, and then I'm going to recap just to make sure that you get it and you understand what you need to do in order to make money. So let's move forward with the recap for lesson number 4 on bird dogging. What is bird dogging? We talked about that in lesson number 1, 2, and 3. Bird dog is just a system of going out and finding deals so that you can then in turn pass on those deals to cash investors. These are people who are looking for deals, but they don't have the time to go out there and be the private detective and sniff out these deals and be able to do the research on the properties, get in contact with the private sellers who own these properties. They don't want to do all that. But you may not want to do what he's doing either, investing in his money and rehabbing and fixing them up and renting them out. You may not want to do what he's doing because maybe you're challenged. Maybe you don't have the cash. Maybe you don't have the credit worthiness in order to be able to do that. Maybe you just don't have the experience because you just signed up for my level 1 mastermind and you're now trying to work your way up to having a better understand. But later, maybe you become that guy because that's level 8, fixing and flipping. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's also level 7, cash flowing properties. But for right now, you're starting off, we're building a foundation, bird dogging, because you're just trying to familiarize yourself with how this works. Not only how to bird dog, but working your way up the pyramid to initially doing some more sophisticated deals. So bird dog is just going out there and just finding deals. And then passing on those deals to these cash investors who can close the deal and pay you a fee. And most of the time, it doesn't take as long as you may think. You just got to get educated by following this system that we have in place for you at this mastermind. So, bird dogging is essentially just going out finding deals. Pass on those deals to investors who are going to buy them with cash and close on them fast. Why bird dog? Again, we just talked about that. Why should you bird dog? Why should you start off as a bird dog? Now, there's some of you guys who may decide to skip bird dogging and decide maybe wholesaling is better for me. Well, let me just wait around a couple more months, go through a couple more levels, and maybe fixing and flipping is best for me. Or maybe cash flowing rental properties is best for me. Or maybe, investing in multifamily is best for me because maybe you have cash. Maybe you have great credit. Maybe you have a track record of being a successful entrepreneur and owning your own business. So you may feel like, well, bird dogging is maybe I'm a step above that. All you got to do is just hang in there with us. And I guarantee you that we're going to find the right strategy that works best for you. Because I typically teach my students how to invest based on 2 things. Number 1, what does your cash and credit look like? Do you have cash? do you have decent credit? Number 2, where do you live? The geography, where do you live? Because let's face it, there's certain cities and states out there that maybe wholesaling houses as a full-fledged business model doesn't work. Maybe you can wholesale maybe 1 or 2 houses throughout the years, but that's it. But maybe you're in an area like Tampa where you can wholesale 5 or 10 houses a month. Maybe you're in an area like Boise, Idaho, or Cheyenne, Wyoming, which is a small market, or Ames, Iowa, which is a small market, and maybe there's just not as many investors to wholesale those properties to, or to act in the capacity of a bird dog to get bird dog fees. There's not enough investors to buy those houses from you. So maybe you may have to utilize another strategy such as buying and holding, because maybe that is a better market to do in your city. Maybe it's building new construction homes in your city. But I'm guarantee you one thing. Just stick around and we're going to find the right strategy that will work for you. But in addition to that, you're also going to learn these 10 strategies that's going to allow for you to compete in any market. Whether it's a good market or a bad market, you're still going to be able to make money. Whether interest rates are high or low, you're still going to be able to make money. So let's go back to the lesson. No cash or credit is one of the reasons why people will become a bird dog. Also, just familiarizing yourself with the neighborhood. You'll be surprised just driving around looking at different houses, how you just become familiar with that area of town, what's going on, if it's a good area, bad area, if there's investors buying over there in that area, is there gentrification being taking place in that area, there's a lot of development taking place in the area, so you can familiarize yourself with what's going on in that area. So that when you do have good credit and maybe some cash because you've been able to make money bird dogging and doing some wholesale deals or some fix and flip deals, now you know where to park that money into, what area of town you need to park that money into income producer properties in order to generate cash flow every month. You're going to know these things because for years you've been riding around just looking at properties and writing down addresses and figuring out what's going on with these particular areas of town. It's important to do that. Tools I need, we talked about tools that you need. Now, you don't have to go out there and spend a whole lot of money on the most expensive flashlight. You don't have to go out there and buy a machine gun to protect yourself going into one of these abandoned houses. But you do want to protect yourself just in case there are, people who are living in the property that should not be, and you walk in the property with the permission of the seller. Of course, you never want to trespass on somebody's property, but you want to make sure that you can protect yourself. You want to make sure to have, GPS so that you can GPS the area of town that you're going to be looking and prospecting these properties. You want to make sure that you also have, and this right here is like critically important. There's a software that we're going to be developing that's going to share with you exactly how to track every single street that you've actually drove down, so that when you continue to prospect over the weeks and months moving ahead, you'll know, oh, I was already on that street. Oh, I was already on this street. Oh, well, now I need to be on this street. So we're developing some really innovative technology that's going to share with you exactly how to track where you've already been so that you don't go to the same streets writing down the same addresses, which is important. So there are going to be tools that you need in order to be a successful real estate investor. One of the most important tools is just having a simple pen and a pad. You need to be able to write down these addresses so that you can later go do the research to find out who owns these properties. There's not a lot of tools. This is not a lot of expensive equipment, that you need in order to become a prospector looking for houses for other cash investors. Just a few things. That's all you need. How do I make money? We talked about this in lesson number 3. How do I make money, Kenny? You make money as a bird dog passing on deals to investors. People who are looking to buy houses in that area because that is their livelihood. That's what they do. They fix and flip houses. They may even buy the house from you and wholesale it to another investor, but they still have cash. Because I wholesale houses to investors of which I paid cash for that property as well. So all wholesalers are not just guys who are just entering into a contract and then assigning the contract to another investor. Not all wholesalers do that. Some wholesalers buy at the auction for cash, and then they sell those properties to other investors like myself. Some investors buy houses from private sellers or from bird dogs for cash, and then they wholesale those properties to other people as well. And you guys are going to learn about that in level number 9. So it's okay. I may be talking above you because we haven't made it to level 9, but just stick in there and I guarantee you guys will learn exactly what I'm talking about. So you make money by passing on these deals to investors. What areas of town should I be looking for? What you want to do is go to areas that are distressed areas. And you got to be very mindful that a lot of the distressed areas now are being gentrified, and there's developers and there's investors who are looking to buy specifically in those areas. Not everybody wants to be way out in the suburbs anymore. A lot of people are coming back to the city, closer to downtown. And believe it or not, a lot of people have owned homes in those areas for decades. And now they may be in really bad condition. They may be open to selling those houses now. And because you're the problem solver, you may be able to come in and buy those properties from those private sellers who are now motivated and pass them over to your investors who are looking to buy in that particular area for cash and would be happy to pay you a fee. Who do I sell my homes to? Cash investors. You want to sell your homes to cash investors. You don't want to be messing around with people who just need to get a FHA mortgage or a conventional mortgage. You want people who have cash and can close fast. The quicker they can close a deal, the quicker you can get paid and get a fee for your hard work of going out there and finding these deals. All right, let's move on. How much can I make per deal? Again, I have to stress the fact that the amount of money that you make per deal will depend on you. How well you negotiate with the motivated seller. How well of a relationship do you have with the cash investor? You know, everybody's got to make money. You know, some cash investors will try to regulate how much money you can make per deal. They may say, well, you know, I pay $500 to $1,000 per bird dog fee. Well, you have to separate yourself from that. Hey, I'd love to be able to find you great deals that you can make money, but you cannot regulate me to only making $500 to $1,000. I base my fee based on how much equity I can get you when you buy that property for cash. So for instance, is it fair if the house is worth $100,000 and you're able to negotiate it for $30,000 to only get paid $500 when there's $70,000 in equity in that deal? Is that fair to you? Yes, the cash investor would be extremely delighted to be able to buy that property from you for $30,500. But that's not fair. Is it a fair deal if you say, hey, you know, I want a $10,000 fee, you're able to buy it for $30,000, the property's worth $100,000, and you're going to give me $10,000. He has $40,000 invested into this property. He bought it from the private seller for $30,000. He's giving me $10,000. The house is worth $100,000. There's still a lot of equity in that property. Why would he say no unless he's greedy? If he says no, then find somebody else, because there's a lot of equity. There's a ton of equity in that property for you to be able to make money. So again, you need to make sure that you position yourself the right way to assure that you get paid for the effort that you put into finding these houses. Don't find yourself in a position where you're being taken advantage of, accepting these $500 to $1,000 if there is a lot more equity in that deal. And you're going to learn more during the level 9 wholesaling, how to analyze and how to understand the value of these properties, because I'm going to teach you exactly how to find that out, so you'll know exactly what you should be selling these properties for and why you should price them the way you do. Now, I want you guys to take this in consideration. You don't have these properties under contract as a bird dog. When you go to the next level, you're going to contract to buy these properties as a wholesaler. But wholesaling is a little bit more sophisticated than being a bird dog. Again, bird dogging, you find a house, you call Mr. Clark, who's buying houses for cash in that area. Hey, Mr. Clark, I got this property. It's 123 Jackson Street. The lady wants to sell the property for $30,000. You know, I'm selling it for $40,000. I need a $10,000 fee. He's going to go out there and take a look at it. He's going to call you back. Yeah, I'm interested in buying it. Or no, I don't want to buy it. Or, hey, are you flexible in what you're trying to sell the deal for? Because, you know, I want to be able to buy it for a little less. Well, you know, hey, there's $60,000 of equity in the property, which you buying it for $40,000. There's a lot of money for you to be able to make. So you gotta state your position correctly, negotiate well, but make sure it's a fair situation for everybody, because at the end of the day, you're trying to help him make money, but he's got to respect the fact that you also need to make money, and in turn, everybody needs to make good by the motivated seller who's just trying to get her problem solved and move on with her life and get this house sold. So it's got to be a win-win situation for everybody. And like I told you guys in lesson number 3, fair exchange is never robbery. Add value to other people in hopes that they will return the value and be very committed to the relationship with you. So, who is a motivated seller? Who's a motivated seller? Somebody who's in divorce, they're in foreclosure, they inherit a house they don't want, they're dealing with tenants that they hate, maybe they can't pay for expensive repairs, maybe they're getting harassed by code enforcement, maybe they're moving out of town, they don't want the house anymore, they need to get rid of this house, the house is a burden, maybe they have taxes due on the property, they need to get rid of this house. And you swoop in and you become their problem solver by solving the problems that they have, in return being able to negotiate to buy for a good price and pass on that value over to the cash investor who's going to buy it with his money and pay you a fee, and you guys move on to the next deal. What does a neglected house look like? A neglected house has high grass in front of it, hasn't been mowed. You know, you may see you always see the old telephone book that's been damaged by all the elements, whether the snow or the rain. It's brown and corroded. It's always sitting there by the mailbox. You know, there may be boards over the windows and the doors. Maybe there's even squatters living inside the house. Maybe the roof is damaged. Maybe there's a crack in the house somewhere. You know, you can tell just by looking at it that maybe it has some structural issues, and maybe you can see through the house, whatever the case may be. But be mindful of this. Just because it may be an eyesore, that may be an eye of opportunity for you to be able to make money. So don't cast out a house just because it looks really bad, because I assure you, there's somebody out there in your city that would be more than happy to buy that house and has a plan for what they can do with that house in order to be able to turn a profit. And what you're going to do is connect those people together, that person who has the cash with the person who's motivated to sell, and make yourself some money. How do I find an owner? It's not difficult. We're going to talk more about this and really drill down during the level 9 wholesale, which is the next level of how to find a property seller. But the first thing that you need to do as a bird dog is have a pen and pad and write down the address. So you're going to write down the address. Let's say the address is 1520 Clark Street. You're going to write down the address. And then my system is going to share with you how to go and find out who owns that property by checking public records. Typically with most counties or cities or municipalities, they will have a website where you can log onto their website and gain that information to find out who owns the properties. It's doing a property record search, or maybe a tax search to find out, you know, who owns a property, and maybe a tax assessor's website, and maybe the property appraiser's website. It just depends on who handles that task in your particular city. Sometimes you have to go down to the city and do this research using their computers. Sometimes, like where I'm from in Tampa and most places around the country, you can actually get this information at home. So you'll write in the address of the property and it will spit out who owns the property with their address. After that, you're going to then send them a direct mail piece, or maybe just write a letter saying that, hey, my name is Kenny Rush and I'd like to buy your house for cash. You're going to lick a stamp, put it on the envelope, and put it in the mail, and send that envelope with that letter inside to them. They're going to receive that letter, they're going to read it, and if you got your information, your phone number, they're going to call you back and say, yeah, I'm really trying to sell this property. I've had it, it's been sitting there forever, and I want to sell it. That's just one strategy of how you can find these particular motivated sellers. Another one is using white pages and finding out exactly who owns that property by just doing a little bit of research on that particular property and owner. So it's not challenging whatsoever. Again, you almost become like a real estate detective, you know, and it's really fun, to be honest with you, you know, just sniffing out clues to find out who owns this property. Sometimes it's as easy as knocking on the neighbor's door and saying, hey, my name is Kenny, I noticed this house has been vacant for a long time. Do you happen to have their information? You'd be surprised how many neighbors actually would say, hey, I watched the property for them. They live in Tennessee now. Here, I got the information. Call them. I'd love to see you buy this property so that you can turn it around, because it's been sitting like that for 5, 6, 10 years. So you just got to sniff out the clues, like the dog, I guess, the Blue's Clues. You just sniff out the clues to find out who owns that property by doing some research at public records, by checking white pages to find out if you can get their phone number, and then calling them or send them a letter or send them a postcard to tell them that, hey, I want to buy that house. You don't want it? I want it. Let me take on the responsibilities of owning this property so I can free you from all the brain damage and the problems that you have with code enforcement or being in foreclosure, inherit a house you don't want, or taxes, whatever the case may be. So that's what a neglected house looks like. And how you find an owner, that's how you find an owner. Why will a seller discount the price? Why would they discount the price? Because you're going to provide them with cash to close quickly. Are you going to be using your own cash? Because you may be saying, well, kid, I don't have any money. By this time, I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. You're going to use somebody else's cash to close a deal. Whose cash? That cash investor that you met at the Real Estate Association Club locally in your city. That cash investor that you met at Home Depot. That cash investor that you met from doing a Google search. These are the people who are going to buy these houses from you. So you don't have to have any credit. You don't have to have any cash because you're not going to use your credit or cash. You're going to use their credit cash, and they're going to pay you a fee for their for finding that good deal. How much time do I have to invest? How much time should you invest in this business will only depend on you. Again, I have to stress this. When I got started, I was putting in 40, 50, 60, 80 hours a week. Not because it was, challenging and a lot of labor and hard work. It was fun. This is a fun business. So I didn't mind getting in my car at 6:30 in the morning and going by McDonald's and getting a coffee and getting a hash brown and getting a McGriddle and going and riding around neighborhoods all day from early in the morning to late at night. It was fun, exciting. Getting out of my car, looking at the house, calling the for sale by owner sign, calling the landlord sign. There's a lot of people who have for rent signs that don't want the house. They don't want to deal with no tenants either. Call them. Hey, my name is Kenny Rush, and I seen you got a for rent sign. I was just wondering, are you interested in maybe selling the house? Yeah, well, no one has offered to buy, but I would love to sell that house because I'm tired of renting it. You just never know. Just get out there, get engaged, get active, have some fun, and you'll be surprised the blessings and the amount of money and profit that you'll make by being able to solve people's problems. Again, you're solving people's problems, and you're helping and adding value to the cash investor, and he's cutting you a check for $5,000, $10,000. You may receive more money on one deal than you've made in an entire year on salary. It's possible, it's doable, but you got to get engaged. You got to continue to stay connected right here on this mastermind. You got to get educated, and I'm going to help you do that, especially with this mastermind. It's only $25 a month. Let me tell you, I'm pouring in everything. I've been working on this mastermind site for over 1 year, and I assure you, between myself and my experts, we have everything that you need to know in order to get started and be successful, unless you're looking for some additional hand-holding and coaching, of which we offer those services as well. Let's move forward. Do I need a real estate license? No, you don't need a real estate license. You are not a realtor. You're not listing property for investors. You're not listing property for private sellers. You're not showing properties to potential buyers who are looking to buy the house to move into the home. You are an investor. You are going out there finding houses, and you're just passing on these deals to investors. You don't need a realtor's license in order to do that. If you're listing properties for sellers, yes, but you're just, hey, here's a deal. Joe, call that person. They want to sell for this price. I need to make this fee. Make it a win-win situation for everybody. Make money. Move on to the next deal. All right? How do I find buyers? We talked about how to find buyers. And this is the recap, so I'm going to lay it on you again. We need to go to Home Depot. We need to go to Real Estate Association meetings. We need to Google search. We buy houses in Baltimore. We buy houses in Denver, Colorado. We buy houses in Austin, Texas. You need to be on the phone talking to them. Hey, my name is Kenny Rush, and I find houses for investors. I'd love to build a relationship with you so I can sell you some properties I'm confident you can make money on. You need to be doing that. You need to be on Facebook, going to the Facebook clubs. You need to go to Craigslist. You need to be out there networking, putting up banner signs, and making this business work for you. And I guarantee you, if you do that and you listen to what we teach you how to do on this mastermind and with some of the other coaching programs that I offer, you will make money. Why would they buy from me? We're going to end this with, why would they buy from you? Why would a cash investor want to buy from you? By this time, you guys probably have the answer to that question. I've already spoken about this a dozen times, but I want to make sure I place emphasis on it one more time. Listen, they don't want to do what you're doing. They don't want to go out there and find these deals. They don't want to ride around for 6, 7, 10 hours a day. They don't want to write down these addresses. They don't want to be the real estate detectives trying to sniff out who owns these properties. They don't want to do the skip tracing to find out who owns them. They don't want to check white pages. They don't want to knock on the neighbor's door to ask who owns this property. They don't want to call for sale by owner signs to find out how much they're trying to sell a house for. They don't want to do any of that. These cash investors, the only thing they want to do is they want a house that they can buy and close on with their money and fix it up and sell it and make a profit. Or buy a house and fix it up and rent it and cash flow it and make some money. That's all they want to do. So you're doing them a service and they're doing you a service. So it's a partnership, it's a good marriage, it's a win-win situation for everybody. And that's why you want to become a bird dog. Hey, this is Kenny Rush and this is level 10, lesson 4, recap. I'm confident that you was able to learn exactly step by step what you need to do in order to become a successful bird dog. Now we're going to move on to level number 9, wholesaling, where I'm as confident that you're going to learn a whole lot more about how to become a more sophisticated investor by not only going out and finding houses, but how you can enter into contracts with motivated sellers. Now you control that contract, therefore being able to go out and wave that contract in the air that you have a contract for sale, and then I'm going to teach you how you can assign, A-S-S-I-G-N, assign that contract to a cash investor for a profit. I want you guys to join us on level 9. I'm confident you'll be happy that you did.